with the natal promise. First of all, the term, the natal promise, is Arabian, and it comes out of the Quran because addition, subtraction, decimals, if you will, base 60 mathematics for simple geometry. These are the requirements for measuring the motion of a planet through a chart. Simple geometry. When we measure the motion of a planet through the number line, we're actually looking at the aspects. We're condensing the entire chart down into 30 degrees because every sign has 30 degrees. That commonality gives us a base to work from without having to look at the entire chart. Thus this example, right? Be aware that it takes the exact same method and effort to measure 30 degrees of solar transit, 30 degrees of the sun, as it does to measure 30 degrees of Saturn, though 30 degrees of Saturn is almost 3 years and 30 degrees of the sun is only a month. The sun will move through this number line. This number line is composed of 0 through 29.9. Okay, it represents the 30 degrees of any particular sign. Right? It will move through this number line in approximately 1 month. The sun will enter at the 0 degree, and if we use this chart that I have on the board as an example, it will aspect Jupiter 24 hours after entering a sign. It will give us an exactitude aspect. Right? 5 days later, it'll aspect the midheaven. 1 day after that, the sun. 3 days after that, it'll be Saturn. 7 days later, it'll be Pluto. The day after that, Uranus and Chiron. The day after that, Neptune and Mars. 4 days later, it'll aspect Venus. The day after that, it'll aspect the moon. 3 days after that, it will aspect Mercury. This is how the sun would move through this line. So, on the first day, we observe it here. The next day, it'll be here. The next day, it'll be there. The next day, it'll be there. Okay? A planet takes as many months to move through a sign as it does years to go around the entire zodiac, on average. Because they don't really move at a constant rate. They're faster when they're closer to the sun, slower when they're at their slowest when they're in opposition. It's only when they square the sun that they are at their average speed, even the moon. So when a planet goes through a sign, it takes as many months in a sign as it does in the zodiac per year. So like Saturn, for example, takes approximately 30 years to go around the zodiac. He stays approximately 30 months in each sign. That means, on average, he stays anywhere from 28 to 29 days in every degree. Where the sun takes 365.25 approximately days to go around the entire zodiac. He spends 1 day per degree in each sign. Even the rate of the sun's motion varies a little. He moves faster through Pisces than he does through Leo. He stays in Leo for 30 plus days. He stays in Pisces for 29 plus days. Right? But it's all 30 degrees. Right? It's all approximately 30 degrees. So for the sake of brevity and simplicity, we'll just round the sun's motion through a sign off to 30 days. We'll round Saturn off to 30 months. All right? And Jupiter takes approximately 12 years. So he stays in each sign for approximately 12 months. All right? Let's just say Jupiter's transit through a sign is 1 year. Right? To round it off. So, it requires the same exact math to measure the sun's motion through a sign as it does to measure Saturn or Jupiter's motion through a sign, discounting the retrograde cycle. I was asked a question by my students, how is it that something that takes 3 years to move 30 degrees requires the exact same math as that which takes 1 month? Well, I want to demonstrate that it's a matter of simple geometry and knowing the rate or the rate of motion for the planet that's under examination, for the planet that's being analyzed. Right? And the pattern of aspecting never stops with regard to the natal chart and progressions or transits moving through the sign, through the degrees. The question was, how is it that it takes Saturn 3 years to move through this, approximately 3 years, and the sun only 30 days? Well, the answer is that the sun appears to go through the zodiac 365 days because the earth is going around it. And Saturn, which is much further from the earth and the sun, is going around a bigger track at the same speed, mind you, in terms of miles per hour. But because the circumference of his orbit is wider, it appears to be moving much slower. Alright? But nonetheless, simply because Saturn takes about 3 years to move to this line doesn't create more mathematical calculation than it requires for the sun or the moon, for that matter. It takes the moon approximately 60 hours, sometimes a little bit less, depending on her rate of speed at the time, to move through this entire number line. So the moon will aspect every planet in your chart within 2.5 to 3 days. All right? So if we were watching the moon move through here, we would be watching her motion every 2 hours. She would make an aspect. So 2 hours after entering a sign, she's going to aspect this Jupiter. 10 hours later, she's going to aspect the midheaven. 2 hours after that, the sun. 6 hours after that, Saturn, and so forth. 2 hours for every degree. Now the math required to make that measure is the same. It's simple addition and basic geometry. That's basically the point that I wanted to make. Because it's not that difficult when you take into consideration the fact that you are measuring a fractal of 30 degrees. Now, as a planet moves through this fractal of 30 degrees, it throws aspects to every single one of the other signs. Every time it hits a degree here, for example, the sun is at 1 degree of this sign, whatever sign you want it to be. Let's make it Capricorn, okay? The sun is at 1 degree Capricorn. It aspects 1 degree of Sagittarius, 1 degree of Scorpio, 1 degree of Libra, 1 degree of Virgo, 1 degree of Leo, 1 degree of Cancer. All the way around the zodiac is aspecting 1 degree, all right? And as he moves through each number, each degree in a sign, he's going to throw an aspect. Okay, if he's moving through Capricorn, he's going to throw squares into Libra and Aries. Okay, he's going to throw an opposition to Cancer, a trine to Virgo and Taurus, right? Semi-quincunx to Sagittarius and Aquarius. The speed and rate of the planet and its orbit is necessary for predictive measure. Right? It's not often understood by those who don't practice this craft, the energy that goes into, or the effort that goes into measuring these planets. If we wanted to measure 1 year of the sun, we would have to measure it through this number line 12 times. Where in the case of Saturn, in 1 year, he might move from 0 to 10 or 11 degrees. And if you look at 1 year of Saturn from 0 to 10 or 11 degrees in this chart, you would only get 4 aspects being made, being cast, to 4 stations in this chart. As opposed to 1 year of the sun, who moves through the entire number line, all 30 degrees. Okay? Now, Jupiter, in the course of a month, is only going to move about that far, 2 or 3 degrees, if he's moving at his average rate of speed. Okay? So, I was asked, why, how can this much of a measure equal this much of a measure with another body? Because the sun moves much faster than Saturn and Jupiter. Alright? Now in this example I'm going to use the moon. She's real simple to work with. Right? All planets have an elliptical orbit around the sun, and because we're figuring in the triangulation of the Earth using astrology, the pattern even becomes more abstract. You have retrogrades and things of that nature, stationary directs that prolong a planet's stay in a sign. All right? Today we're not dealing with that. Today we're dealing with the speed of a planet. When we look at the wheel, okay, these are the 12 signs of the zodiac. Okay. And let's say the sun is here, all right, at 0 degrees of Aries, all right? And we are measuring the moon, trying to understand her orbit without having to refer to an ephemeris or any software. Let's say we start here, that the moon is also at 0 degrees Aries, right? She's going to move approximately 15 degrees per day. All right. At her slowest point in opposition, the moon will be in Libra, a full moon in opposition to the sun. Let's say at 1 degree. She is moving a tad bit more than 11 degrees per day. At the square, these are the quarter moons. Right? This is 21 days in her orbit. This is 7 days into her orbit. Right? She is moving 13.3 degrees or 13 degrees and 20 minutes per day. 13 degrees and 20 minutes per day. She's slowing down as she moves away from the sun. And when she reaches her slowest point, she starts to speed up. As she moves back towards the sun. Right? All planets do the same thing throughout the zodiac. Sometimes you're going to see Mars move more than 1 degree per day. Sometimes you're going to see it move less than 1 degree per day, about 3/4 of a degree per day. All right? When Mars comes around the sun, we're using the moon, but any planet would do for this demonstration, right? We just be changing the numbers, right? But at any rate, as the moon moves away from the sun, she slows down. As she moves towards the sun, she's faster. And such it is with every planet. They are at the average rate here. At 90 degrees. Average rate at 90 degrees. Slowest rate at 180 degrees in opposition. Okay? Get yourself an ephemeris or some software. Go to astro.com. Track the planets in their motion. Actually move each planet by degree to see how many days or stays in each degree. This expands your mind to the motion of a planet. Understanding the motion of the planets is key when you're looking at a birth chart and you're doing predictive astrology and you don't have time to sit down and actually figure everything out. You're trying to make an approximation. You can actually, from the knowledge of his orbit and his motion, come fairly close, very close if you practice. is rate through any sign, is rate through any house, and understand that the aspects as they are formed are indicative of events in a person's life. You can do a lot. Subscribe to my page, check my website, Cosmo361.com or Cosmophysics361.com, both of them are operating piece. With the natal promise, first of all, the natal promise is Arabian, and it comes out of the Quran because it makes a mention in there about in the sky. From it you receive your providence and what is promised to you.
I could do anything. Creator send me wings. Watch me ascend these kings. The water's so polluted. I came with many springs to feed your thirst for wisdom. Fresh air provides the knowledge. Love is the earth's religion. You gotta learn the system. The sun is birthed in vision. My nationality, I'm born from Neek imagination.